What makes us who we are? Is it our biology, the temperament, desires, or instincts we are born with? Or is it the world around us, our upbringing, culture, relationships, and the systems we live within? This debate between nature and nurture has shaped psychology, education, philosophy for centuries. But cinema offers something different. Not abstract arguments, but living, breathing portraits of people caught in the tension between what is innate and what is learned. This festival explores that tension through 11 films, grouped into 3 overlapping categories: parent-child relationships, sexuality and identity, and social peer influence. Across genres, decades, and countries, each story becomes a case study in human development. We begin with parent-child relationships, where nature and nurture often blur. Parents give us our genes, but they also shape the first world we come to know. And we need to talk about Kevin. A mother and her son exist in constant friction. As a toddler, Kevin shows a chilling hostility towards Ava, a suggestion that something in his nature is broken, perhaps psychopathic. But Ava too is emotionally distant. In scenes where she fails to soothe her crying baby, we see how her own discomfort with motherhood may have nurtured Kevin's coldness. Is he a product of genetics or a bond that never formed? Mommy shows a different portrait. Steve's impulsive violence, like in an explosive fight with Kyla, might point to a neurological condition or emotional disorder. But his mother's unstable parenting, swinging between fierce devotion and desperation, amplifies every emotional wave. His nature is volatile, his nurture chaotic. In Mildred Pierce, the question is not violence, but ambition and entitlement. Vada's arrogance seems innate. Even as a child, she believes she's above her class. But Mildred, in her desperation to be loved and to provide, nurtures Vada's vanity through indulgence. Nature plants the seed, nurture waters it. In Tokyo Story, we encounter a quiet attention. Koichi and Shige show emotional detachment as their elderly parents visit, perhaps due to stoic personality traits. But the neglect also reflects a cultural shift. Post-war Japan begins to prioritize the individual over tradition. Here, nurture comes in a form of societal change. Our second category moves from family to identity and sexuality, areas where nature is often silenced or reshaped by social norms. In Moonlight, Chiron's quiet observations in the locker room and his first sexual experience with Kevin shows desire emerging without instruction. His queerness is not learned, it simply is. Yet the way he expresses it is shaped by neglect, violence, and fleeting moments of care. His body becomes a site of conflict between natural longing and the survival strategies nurtured by fear. The Virgin Suicides offers a different kind of repression. The Lisbon sister, particularly looks, are full of longing and emotional sensitivity. The desire that feels eternal, even sacred. But their parents' oppressive control, locking them inside after look stays out, transforms that desire into despair. Nature reaches out, nurture locks the door. In Close, the natural emotional intimacy between Leo and Remy is tender and intuitive, shown most clearly in the scenes of them running through the flower fields. But when the world begins to watch too closely, when teasing and gendered expectations emerge, Leo retreats. Social stigma, a powerful form of nurture, teaches him to sever what once feels safe. Finally, our last category looks outward, social forces and peer dynamics. Sometimes people are shaped by the need to survive, even if it means betraying their own nature. In The Social Network, Mark Zuckerberg's introversion and obsessive thinking appear to be inborn traits, evident in the opening breakup scene. But the environment he's immersed in, one of elitism, competition, and status, channels those traits into something ruthless. His ambition is nurtured by a system that rewards detachment. City of God provides a visceral counterpoint. Rocket, our narrator, is thoughtful and observant. He wants nothing to do with the gang violence that surrounds him. This moral clarity feels innate. Yet the world he lives in punishes that resistance. Even when he tries to work an honest job, he's humiliated and pushed back toward crime. The film reminds us, nurture is not always gentle. It can crush, coerce, and limit what we might otherwise become. In 13, we see how fast identity can shift. Tracy begins as emotionally vulnerable, seeking connection, a trait that suggests sensitivity, perhaps even inherited. But after falling under Evie's influence, she transforms almost overnight. New clothes, new language, theft, self-harm. Peer pressure becomes a kind of parenting in itself, a powerful and sometimes destructive nurture. And finally, Heavenly Creatures blurs the line between reality and fantasy. The girl's imaginative brilliance and emotional intensity feels like innate gifts, but their isolation, from family, from school, from the world, creates a feedback loop that nurtures obsession. Together, they build a world where fantasy becomes escape, then delusion, then murder. These films, when viewed together, form a mosaic. They don't offer clear answers. They show us that human development is never simple. Nature gives us a starting point. Nurture shapes the path we walk. So when we ask, what makes us who we are, the answer is always, it depends. On genes, on care, on violence, on touch, on absence, on context. This festival doesn't seek to choose sides in the nature versus nurture debate. Instead, it invites you to look closely, critically, compassionately, and how films can help us to see the forces that shape lives, not just the lives on screen.